Welcome back to another deep dive where I go over anything and everything FPS related, whether that's Call of Duty, Destiny, X-Defiant, or anything that I'm just kind of interested in and feel like I want to share to you guys. So let's find out what we're diving into now, shall we? So the World Series of Warzone has come to an end this past weekend, and it did something that I personally didn't think it would do, which was beat the all-time Call of Duty viewership record. Prior to the World Series of Warzone event, the all-time viewership record for the Cdl was just a far over 294,000, which is a crazy number to think about. That we had 294,000 people tuning in to watch Call of Duty. But the World Series of Warzone had just over a hair of 308,000 at its peak viewership, meaning there was 14,000 more people tuning in to watch what I think is fair to say the worst iteration of Warzone that we've gotten so far. But with that said, it has me excited for a couple different reasons. For one, imagine having a good version of Call of Duty Warzone to play on. And for two, this is the first LAN event held and backed by Activision, and by all accounts this exceeded expectations on a couple different fronts. So I can't wait to see what the next series of Warzone is actually going to look like. And I think the multiplayer side of Call of Duty, or at least the multiplayer side of Call of Duty's community, doesn't want to admit it, but it looks like Warzone is saving Call of Duty yet again. Now, admittedly, CDL's first year on Twitch was arguably the best year of all of the CDL's numbers, and it looks like it has projected growth, but we haven't gone a year without having to lose and replace a franchise team. First it was Envy, then it was Legion, and now it's not only the Mutineers, which are now the Heretics, but it's London taking a trip across the pond and landing in North Carolina. Is the only people that are making money in the CDL is the publishers, and unfortunately the orgs just don't have a good way to earn consistent money, consistent revenue in esports at the moment. Personally, this is where I would love to see Call of Duty take a page from Halo, Valorant, other games that have some level of crowdfunding, giving the teams steady flow of income and the prize pools just increase. I mean, give the team full reign on customization, that way they can sell the bundle and Activision gets a part of the split, and then the orgs get part of a split, and then for every major, give us a bundle where half of it goes to Activision and half of it goes to the major prize pool. I don't see how this isn't a win-win-win. Activision gets more money, the orgs get a stream of revenue to be able to pay players, staff, or back into marketing to actually grow their community and fan base. And then lastly, us the fans, we get something to show off and be proud of the teams that we support. But after the World Series of Warzone was concluded, we got to see some post-game interviews, which was dope to see. It reminded me something of like you'd see in football or the NBA, and it was just cool. It was fantastic, honestly. In Modern Warzone, one of the biggest Call of Duty focused accounts on Twitter was at the event looking dapper and asked some very good questions. Questions like Sage, Shifty, and Biffle's response to all the people who have accused them of cheating in Warzone over the years.
So, congratulations, boys. I'm Doug, Modern Warzone. Most of you guys know me. I met both of you at the Miami LAN. I've met you multiple times now, Diaz. Congratulations, guys. I mean, huge. It just felt ecstatic to get to see all your friends, Repulse, everybody, come down there and be happy. My first question is what would you like to say to the people, the naysayers, the hacker hunters, everybody? I mean, I'm not going to name them because they don't deserve the clout from this, but what would you want to say to them today? Diaz, you gave them a quite double middle finger a while back.
Yep.
How are you feeling now?
Probably the same way, to
Yeah?
be honest. But, feels great to come out hot on, and especially the way we did with the amount of points that we got compared to, like, second place. And, we really just came out hot, took the dub, and, it's a good time.
What about you, Shifty? What would you have to say? Because I know that even some of the professional Warzone players for a while were doubtful of you. So it's more so a testament to you. All the clout's going to go to Biffle because he was the more tagged person. But you honestly had more doubt around you in the community than anybody else for quite a while during Caldera.
Yeah, even leading up to this tournament, like it's pros that, some not qualified, some that didn't. They said like, oh, Shifty's just going to bomb it on LAN. Right? And I even said that we won a game. I said, you guys wanted me on LAN. Like, where are you guys now? What are you guys doing? Because you wanted me on this, in person, on a setup that I can't mess with, and you guys are just not showing up. If anything, all three of us showed up. He's been accusated. We've all been accusated. And I think, for the guys that make their job out of it, it's just like, it's corny. Like I'm young and I find that cringe. So like I couldn't imagine being a grown adult and still like doing that because they're sending a lot of hate. And they literally are informing a lot of people and making them think that we're something that we're not. I mean, you can't take anything away from this win today.
And what I hate to see is that there are some people who cannot admit that these people were just good and that they weren't cheating in the past. And they say, look, they're not cheating now, like good for them, they won on land, but back then you can't tell me they weren't cheating. Like, why are you trying to die on this hill even when you know you're wrong? Just makes no sense to me. But the follow-up question from Modern Warzone was to Sage asking, hey, why did you give your life away in the World Series of Warzone event? If you didn't know, Sage and Skullface, they were competitors, they were facing off in the trios event, and when they faced off in the solo dolo, Sage just gave him the win. And this was his response.
On Twitter, there's some storming going on about what you did, Sage. You gave up your gulag on purpose, clearly, to who ended up winning the solo YOLO. And some people on Twitter already feel as if Breadman had that stolen from him. Because Breadman, it's one of those catch-22s. It's a 50-50. You don't know whether you win or you don't if you end up taking that fight. But the fact that you didn't ends up leading to, there's no question about it, you know, he ended up surviving. What would you have to say to those people? And was there any agreement beforehand that if you ran into anyone that you were going to give it up? Or did it matter who it was? Were you just going to give it up?
Speaking about that, I mean, I said it before the match started. I said it during and after, whenever everything happened. I said, you know, we shined. We got our spotlight. I feel like somebody else deserves that. I'm a humble person. I always look outside of the box. I don't always focus on myself. I mean, going into how I played solo, like, I was just messing around, just running at people, killing them, and then I got an extra gulag kit, and I got Skull. And from my eyes, I was like, I've seen Skull play solos. I've seen him. He's been grinding his heart out. That he deserves it the most. I literally said it to my chat. I was like, you know what, chat? I'm gonna just give him the kill. I'm gonna let him win this. I was like, trust me. I was like, he might actually win this game. I was like, I really think this guy is gonna win. I was like, knowing how he plays, his playstyle, you can go back years into like Caldera or Verdansk, and you can see this guy last zone stimming, staying alive for his team and stuff. Like, he's like one of the best solo players in the game, I believe. There was no agreement. I didn't even speak to him throughout this whole tourney until the end. I mean, I was shocked myself. I was standing up, I was like, Skull. Yeah. I was like, yo, I was over here calling play-by-play, like saying, yo, this guy's gonna win, chat. I couldn't even see my chat because my seat was just black. So in my head, I was like, chat, this guy's gonna win. And then in my head, I was like, yo, slide me 10K, slide me 10K. I was just there, like, you know, like, but, you know, everybody deserves their spotlight, especially in Warzone. There's so many creators, there's so many competitors, there's those amateurs, those people who deserve their name, and I feel like Skull represents, like, being one of the best solo players, so I'm glad that he won, and to all those people hating, hey, fuck.
Yeah, you could say it. That's very typical of you. I would say that's what I immediately saw. That was my final question. Those are two very important details that people at home may not have realized from main broadcast. You said it was your second gulag. You found a second gulag reentry kit. We didn't know that watching it, and as long as there was no communication beforehand and it was just something you decided, I don't think anybody can have any problem with that. So thank you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know so many people are going to say, hey, you're playing for 100K. I don't care if I'm going up against my grandma. She's getting an ass whooping. And I understand that. I respect it. And I don't even want to say that you're wrong. But I think there are other ways to win. Sage went into the World Series of Warzone wanting to win the trios portion of it, the main World Series of Warzone. He didn't come to compete in the solo dolo event. And he wanted somebody that he respected. And he even said that he thought would win the event, a chance to go out and win. And then that person went out and won. I think this is a case of Sage winning without actually needing to win. His buddy won, and that's good enough for him. But I will say Skullface better be buying him a steak dinner or upgrading those seats to first class on the flight back home. But the real controversy was when another reporter asked Shifty about his thoughts about playing in the Cdl. And Shifty's response was something along the lines of, hey, if the number is big enough on that contract, I'm interested in that challenge. And when the Cdl players saw this, they turned red and started throwing mud on the timeline. Draza tweets out saying something like, Warzone players think they can come into the Cdl when they wouldn't even make it out of challengers. And then Scrappy comes out saying that he respects the mentality, but Warzone players don't understand real Call of Duty. And for me, it is that statement of saying that they don't understand the real version of the game that they're playing. And that statement, that one right there, just takes me back to my days in paintball where you had the ICPL and the NXL. It's very similar. You're playing paintball under two different formats, just like you're playing Call of Duty under two different formats. You have the NXL, which is very similar to the CDL, and then you have the ICPL, which is very similar to Warzone. At the end of the day, you're both playing paintball. At the end of the day, we're both playing playing COD, just 2 different formats. And the NXL guys would make fun of the ICPL guys, saying that they wouldn't be able to hang in their format and that they were just challenger players or semi-pro players. But when the NXL guys came over to compete in the ICPL, they had a much harder time than I think that they would like to admit. But when the ICPL guys came over and played in the NXL, I think they did a lot better than most anticipated. And at the end of the day, talent is just talent. But with that part out of the way, I'm on the side of moving past this elitism with inside Pro Warzone and Pro CDL. At the end of the day, you guys are pro COD players. You guys should be focusing on lifting the entire scene up the size of Valorant or CSGO, not trying to tear each other down. Which is nice to see, because this kind of aligned with what Clayster was saying, because Clayster responds with saying that the game is practically the same. Talent is talent, and it would translate that they would have to learn the ins and out of Respawn, but it would be cake once they get a hand of that. And Hector, of course, you know, is saying, hey, this is why you're the GOAT. I love you. Finally, someone in the CDL is putting a little bit of respect in the Warzone side of things. And Clay's just like, people like to deny talent, and he never really understood this elitism between the game and the league. Even comparing the switch from COD players from Halo to COD and bringing up players like Formal, Shotzi, and Enable. And if you're gonna deny Shifty the ability to switch formats while playing the same game, what about the guys who came over from a completely different game? I don't know. I think denying that some of these Warzone players like Biffle, Shifty, Aiden, I mean, there's only a handful that we're calling out. To say that they don't have the talent to be able to compete. We're not saying win or be the next Formal or anything like that, but to be able to compete, I don't know. I think you're selling them short, or I think that, or we're thinking the CDL thinks its farts stink maybe a little bit more than they do. But this is where I turn to ask you guys. I want to know what your thoughts on this. Do you think that these Warzone guys, just a few select, could compete, could hang in the CDL, or do you think they couldn't even make it out of challengers? I want to know what you guys think on this. Not just a few sentences, but just a full paragraph. Let me know your full thoughts down below. And if you liked the video, you learned anything at all, please like and subscribe. If you guys are already a part of the crew, share this video with a friend. Throw the pot with your little friend group and see who really thinks Warzone or CDL. The fun talking point at the end of the day. And I challenge all of you who have made it this point of the video, make somebody laugh today. And I'll see you guys in the next one.